Hi, good morning. Um, Chair Coolidge, would you like for me to start?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. My name is Ana Armenta, and I am the Arizona Racing Commission Secretary. Today is December 14th, 2023, the 718th Arizona Racing Commission regular meeting taking place via Google Meet. I will take the roll call. Chair Coolidge,
Present.
Vice Chair Olson,
Present.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Present.
Commissioner York.
Present.
Thank you. We have a quorum. It is now 10 o'clock a.m. and the floor is yours, Chair.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll call to order the 718th Arizona Racing Commission meeting Thursday, December 14th, 2023. Jumping right into B1, namely, this is the time set for consideration of the administrative law judge's recommended decision in case number 23A016RAC regarding the revocation of Arizona Downs live racing permit. However, the commission members have not yet received and reviewed the administrative record of the formal hearing in this matter. Therefore, I'm going to recommend that we table it for a later date so we are all properly prepared to consider, discuss, and decide it. Happy to put it up for communication to any of my commissioners if anybody has any questions or concerns with that, and otherwise we'll make a motion.
I would second that motion.
So then I'll move that the commission table this matter to a later date.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chairman Coolidge and a second by Commissioner French Contreras. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Given my previous abstention, I'll abstain from this vote.
thank you. Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York,
Yes.
thank you. With a total of 4 yeses and 1 abstain, that motion passes.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll drop down to B2, the request for Turf Paradise's off-track betting facility, Luke Greenway, American Legion, Post 1 through 64 North 7th Avenue, Phoenix, Arizona 85007. Mr. Duncan, do you have any thing to add to this besides the paperwork that we've received?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to give the commission a real quick note that the request of the OTB for Turf Paradise at American Legion was last operated in May by Arizona Downs. And then since Arizona Downs received the cease and desist directive from the department, simulcast signals basically were turned off. So this OTB has not been in operation since then. Other than that, you guys did receive, the commission did receive all the necessary paperwork in your commission packet.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a representative from the Horseman Association on this? Mr. Guestman or Commissioner Olson, do you have a question?
Thank you, Chair Coolidge. I just wanted to know, thank you, Mr. Duncan, for the explanation. Does the department have a recommendation on the action item?
The department would recommend approval. Everything has been turned in and is up to date. We will, again, if it is approved, we will go ahead and do another inspection, making sure everybody is licensed before it is turned on.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan.
Commissioner French Contreras.
Mr. Duncan, so all of this is effective immediately, and the pending possible action with the sale of Turf Paradise isn't affected. This doesn't affect this action item?
Commissioner, no, it should not affect the item.
Mr. Yother, I see your hand raised. My question for you is, do the horsemen have any issues or concerns with this?
No, at this time, we do not have any concerns with it. We would go along with the okay to open that OTB.
Thank you, sir. Any of my commissioners have any other questions? Or Commissioner York, I'm sorry.
Yes, the fact that this was an Arizona Downs OTB causes pause in my mind, that maybe we should table this until after we rule on B1.
You can absolutely make a motion should you feel so inclined.
Okay,
You also have
I
Mr.
move-
Dave Johnson, who has his hand raised as well.
okay.
Chairman, Commissioners, I'd really like to address this item for it seems to be that there's a little bit of a concern that this was once an Arizona Downs off-track betting. First of all, I want to just express how important off-track betting is to the industry. As we all know, the lifeblood of the industry comes through the OTB network. That's where the majority of the purses and the revenue that comes to the track is generated. While this was an OTB for Arizona Downs, it had been previously an OTB for Turf Paradise for several years. And when we changed our permit, at that time, the American Legion had decided, well, we'll switch and we'll go with Arizona Downs. But it has been an OTB for Turf Paradise for many, many years. We've gone to the city, we've gotten the proper documentation. We're the only racetrack that is permitted to operate it at this location. So we would ask that you would approve it so that the owner of this facility can experience an influx of traffic into his facility, and that we can generate some additional purse revenue and revenue for the track. Thank you.
This is Jerry Simmons. Pardon me, may I make a comment here, Chairman?
Briefly, yes.
Yeah, I want to echo what Dave Johnson said and what Lloyd said. We need the revenue. We can't just sit and wait. The whole idea is to get OTBs open. We used to have 60 and we're down to 35. And it's hurting purses, it's hurting the track revenue. And this was our OTB. Arizona Downs were in breach because they couldn't deliver the signal. I don't want to be in a position where we can't go and open this OTB when in fact we've done everything that's expected of us and we need the revenue and the horsemen need the revenue. This will be, and I don't want to tell this owner, gee, we can't open it now. He may not even want to go back with them because they weren't able to continue. So we have a contract with him. And I think that contract we have with him is what's needed. Thank you for the
Thank
time.
you. Commissioner French concerns?
Yeah, I just want to say, in my mind, it's irrelevant who had it in the past, who may or may not have problems in the future. The issue is this business owner has a right to do business, and having an OTB definitely would bring in an influx of income. And as long as we're in good standing, or Turf Paradise is in good standing at this point, I see no challenge whatsoever in granting this so that the business can move forward and have this OTB.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Author, very briefly, please.
Yes, I just want to clarify that American Legion, that Turf Paradise closed the OTB at American Legion well before we reopened it. We were approached by the Legion after Turf Paradise closed it for several months, and we brought in our equipment and reopened it. To the extent there was any misunderstanding with what Mr. Sims or Mr. Johnson just said. Secondly, we are Mr. Duncan is correct. The state came in and shut down our OTB system and saying that we couldn't operate even though we still had our permit, et cetera. So I'm kind of on the fence here. When we get our permit back, we'd like to have American Legion back with us, but we can't run it right now as a result of decisions made by the division. So I'll just leave it up to you as to whether you want to go forward or not. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Just add one sentence. We do have a contract with them now. Thank you.
Mr. Sims, if you could raise your hand, as everyone else says, that'd be great, so I can call on you.
I'm on a phone and I don't have a computer.
Understood.
So I don't know how to do that.
Commissioner French Contreras, you have something else to add?
Actually, as I said before, I think this business owner has a right to do business with who he wants. All the paperwork is in place, and I would make a motion to approve this agenda item.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. I have a motion by Commissioner French Contreras, and a second by Chairman Coolidge. I will take the roll call. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York.
No.
Thank you. With a total of 3 yeses and 1 no, that motion passes.
Drop down to B3, the simulcast agreements pursuant to ARS 5-112U, namely for Turf Paradise 1 through 13. Mr. Duncan, anything that we need to be aware of on any of these 13 items?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman, there are no updates on those.
Any questions or concerns from my commissioners on any of these?
Hi, Chair. This is Vice Chair Olson, if I may.
Yeah.
If we could vote on item 4 separately, I need to abstain from that number.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions or concerns from my commissioners?
No.
Okay. I would move that we approve Turf Paradise's Los Alamitos.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner York. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Abstain.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York.
Yes.
With a total of 3 yeses and 1 abstain, thank you. That motion passes.
I'll also move that we approve Turf Paradise's Aqueduct, Charlestown, Golden Gate, Louisiana Downs, Parks Racing, Santa Anita, Sunland Park, Mahoning Valley Racecourse, Penn National, Sam Houston Race Park, Gulfstream Park, and Maryland Jockey Club.
This is Commissioner Olson's second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Vice Chair Olson. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York.
Yes.
With a total of 4 yeses, thank you. That motion passes.
We'll drop down into looks like 4A. Commissioner Olson, I understand your side on number 4. Mr. Duncan, any other issues as far as the pending action items here?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman, no updates. All are pending.
Okay. Any questions or concerns from my commissioners?
No, thank you.
Just need a second. I'm scrolling through the docket here. Mr. Duncan, are they pending due to 5112U? Or they're needing information? Yeah, it looks like they're still needing information. Okay. I would move that we approve Turf Paradise's Los Alamitos conditionally upon the fact that they submit the required paperwork to the department and leave it to the department to further review once all required information is submitted.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner French Contreras. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Abstain.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York.
Yes.
With a total of 3 yeses, 1 abstain. Thank you. That motion passes with conditional approval.
Also move that we conditionally approve Turf Paradise's Aqueduct, Charlestown, Golden Gate, Louisiana Downs, Parks Racing, Santa Anita, Sunland Park, Mahoning Valley Racecourse, Penn National, Sam Houston Race Park, Gulfstream Park, and Maryland Jockey Club, provided the department receive all required information and leave it to the department to execute once all required information has been submitted.
Olson seconds.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Vice Chair Olson. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York.
Yes.
With a total of 4 yeses, thank you. That motion passes with conditional approval.
Thank you. Dr. Gale, do we have anything to discuss on the track safety report?
Thank you, Chair Coolidge and Commissioners. I do have a couple of items that not necessarily related to safety, but the health of the horses that I'd like to announce. Excuse me. Regarding thoroughbred horses, this does not apply to quarter horses, but Dr. Alyssa Butler, the track veterinarian, brought up a concern that those horses that want to work off the vets list, and for thoroughbreds, that is if they're on the list for being unsound, if they haven't raced in more than a year, which would be anytime before January 28th of 2023, if they intend to run the first weekend, or if it's a 4-year-old horse that's going to make its first start of its career. Those are all horses that get put on the HISA vet list, and they need to work and have blood drawn. Now, we won't be having that capacity to test the horses at Turf Paradise in the near future. We're not quite sure when that might be available. And so Dr. Butler encourages everyone who is at a track or a facility outside of Arizona to work these horses off the vet list there. So that's just an encouragement to folks to take that action, because otherwise you might be delayed in being able to race your horse when it arrives at Turf Paradise if, again, a thoroughbred horse is on a vet list for any of those 3 reasons: unsound, hasn't raced in a year, or is a first-time starter over 4 years old. This, again, for quarter horses, HISA does not apply, period. And so for quarter horses, if a horse has been off for a year or hasn't raced for a year, I should say, then the Arizona rule is simply 2 timed workouts within 2 months of entry into the race, and one of those workouts must be observed by an official veterinarian. Those workouts can be performed here before races start. Again, there's no blood required for quarter horses, except maybe for horses coming from California. And again, for quarter horses that are 4 years old, starting for the first time, there is no work or blood requirement. If there's questions about that, I'd certainly encourage folks to contact me or Dr. Butler. I'll make sure our numbers are at the HBPA office. I don't want to announce them on a public meeting if I don't have to. And then the other concern might be regarding vaccinations and Coggins tests. Again, because there's been short notice, the Turf Paradise stall application states that horses should have a herpes virus vaccination more than 14 days before arrival and within 90 days. It might be difficult for folks to comply with that, and I would refer you to your attending veterinarians to get the best advice on that, and they can certainly call Turf Paradise Management and get questions answered on that. I have heard from a couple of veterinarians that are in the area to provide services. Dr. Bergsma, who's been on the backside many years, will be at the track for the 18th and 19th, but will be off for a week from December 20th to the 27th. I've heard from Dr. Reuther, who was with the track on the backside last year. She plans on arriving the 18th, so there should be veterinarians, and actually Dr. Holland, who's the third-party Lasix veterinarian, is in the area as well. And again, I'll try to make sure those phone numbers are available in the HPPA office, so folks have that resource available should they need it. Again, shipping horses, the biggest worry is illness or injury. I just want to make sure that those horses have care if needed. That's all I have, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Appreciate your input as always, Dr. Gale, and obviously that's a massive priority for us. Mr. Yother, I see your hand raised.
Yes, the director, this is a question for Dr. Gale. Did I understand you to say that quarter horse works has to be done, the 2 months? What did you say about the 2 months? It doesn't take 2 months to get them off the
No.
work.
Yeah, let me clarify that. Quarter horses that haven't raced in 1 year are not on the vets list. However, they're not eligible to enter until they have completed 2 timed works, and the 2 timed works have to be within 2 months prior to the race date. So again, a horse that maybe worked in October, that work wouldn't count towards the 2 works because it's more than 60 days before racing starts. So again, a horse that's been off a year, a quarter horse, this applies to quarter horses, needs to follow the Arizona rule, which is 2 timed works within 2 months prior to entering a race. And one of those works has to be observed by an official veterinarian. Does that help?
Yes, ma'am, it does. Thank you. Yes, it does. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Very good. Thank you.
Any other questions from my commissioners? Thank you as always, Dr. Gale. Budget report,
Good morning.
Ms. Latrina, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Commissioner. So I'm going to report on November's activity. This chart here shows you basically the cash balance is $2,443,551. We've spent year to date $863,888. We have our projected expenses for year end of $2 million. And we're going to be giving out per statute $250 for the Breeders' Awards. So our year to date RWA, we've received $70,060 for the month of November. Year to date is $304,329. Our pari-mutuel tax, which is our state tax, we have not collected because we have no live racing. And I'll show you a chart later in this presentation of what we would have collected year to date as of last year compared to 24, please, in a second. We do have dark days assessments. We've collected $42,025. And we've collected license fees for boxing and also for racing, bringing our total collection of $362,262. So below that, we have year-to-date expenses as far as payroll. We've added $166,870 in payroll for the month of November. Legal costs is $117,261, along with contracted services for $2,302. Next slide, please. And here's an actual graph of the racing appropriation, which is $2.3 million. And we are on track, as you see on the arrow here, that we're not over the spending amount. We have the purple or the lavender is the encumbered amount for the year. The next slide. The next one is our racing cash balance, and it also shows you a depiction of what we spent year to date. And then the very last slide is where I wanted to show you the comparison for our 2% state tax. So this is a comparison for 2024 versus 2023. In the month of July of last year, we collected $9,637. In August, we collected $9,136. September, $5,998. We usually didn't collect anything in October. That's when these races are starting. And in November last year, we collected $25,657. So year to date, that's about that is exactly $50,428,000. But if the racings is starting in January, we'll be back on track starting January to start collecting the 2% sales tax. And that's
Got it.
all I have.
Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Any questions for my commissioners on the the budget report?
No, thank you very much, Ms. Roseman. That's very helpful.
You're very welcome.
Ms. Roseman, one thing that I would like, and it doesn't necessarily have to be immediately, is I've been getting a lot of correspondence about the $5 million that the department received specific to additional purses, I believe, from the last legislative session. So wondering if you might work with the team there to present a report to the commission, maybe on the next meeting if doable.
Yes, sir. I can definitely do that.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman, may I address that matter?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the department is currently analyzing grant funding, and it will be working with relevant parties to determine future actions. So we will be meeting with the horsemen and addressing these issues.
Would you be kind enough to send a note to the commission letting us know what the timeline is on something like that?
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. Mr. Gassman?
Director Coolidge, Lloyd Yother.
Mr. Yother, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I lost my computer connection. I just dialed back in on the phone in reference to those the funding. We're starting to meet in January, as everybody knows. Time is of essence. We have to get those funding. We have to get that funding clarified relatively in a short order, that we be able to fulfill our commitments to the horsemen and for the purses that we're going to be paying out. So I would encourage whoever's that's got to be involved. I don't know why why the delay and what all this has been about, but it's been going on for months and with no solution to it. So I just encourage that they get us an answer as soon as possible. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Mr. Gassman, any update on the Horse Racing Integrity Act?
Yes, Chair Coolidge, Leroy Gatzman, National HBPA. We are still waiting for the 5th District Court judges to make a ruling. They have stated that they will make a ruling before the end of the year, which is approaching very quickly. I would expect a ruling any day. And then I guess everybody is anxiously waiting on both sides of that lawsuit to plan their next strategies. But that's the only update. All the other court cases are basically in a holding pattern, waiting the judge's decision on this case. I think a lot of them, they're waiting to see what they say so they can kind of follow suit, I believe. Anyway, that's the status of all the lawsuits and where we're at with Heist on that issue. Any questions?
Appreciate it. Keep us in the loop, if you will. We'll continue to keep an eye on this as it moves forward.
yeah, I'll update you as soon as we get a verdict.
Appreciate it, sir. We'll
Yeah.
drop to C4, the permittee reports, American Greyhound Racing.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Aaron Feinberg for American Greyhound Racing. We have no update this month. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Arizona Downs.
This is Dave Author for Arizona Downs. I spoke with the representative of the public company with whom we have an agreement, an exclusivity agreement to sell the track. I spoke with him this morning. Because it's a public company, he's not in a position to make a public disclosure of the name of the company. But we just want everyone to know that there's a lot of rumors and talking going around. And I can at least describe the company as and this is what they allowed me to say, that it is a large public company, very well capitalized, and it is licensed in several states in the gaming and horse racing industry. And we are in the middle of negotiating a final agreement. And as soon as we get that done, obviously we'll tell everyone. The second thing I've been advised that I can report is that they do intend to meet with the regulators at the appropriate time to discuss their position and acquiring permits and licenses, et cetera. So we're still working on all those details, and we'll be able to fill that in as soon as possible. In the meantime, we certainly don't want to lose our permit because we're not, this deal is not done yet, and we may be still in the horse racing business. Of course, that's for another day. Secondly, we have had discussions and are actually ready to move on in the event this purchaser does not go forward with Watch and Wager to lease some space at our track, and also to assist us and partner with us in running an OTB system and in running the thoroughbred meet next summer. So that's our fallback position at this point. Obviously, our primary endeavor will be to sell the track. We've owned it, we think, long enough, and although we've enjoyed the ride. Our second and fallback position, as I indicated to you, would be to, if we can't make the sale happen, would be to partner with Watch and Wager to run our meet and assist running our OTB system as soon as we get the approval from the state to do that. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner York?
Mr. Author, I know you can't give a firm date, but do you have a best guess as to when you think the contract would be signed if it does happen? 30 days, 60 days, what? Just some idea of
30.
timing.
30.
30? Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Lloyd Yoder again.
Sir?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir. Mr. Yother, the floor is yours.
thank you, sir. I would like to address Mr. Arthur's comments. The horse racing in Arizona is in such flux, as everyone knows. There's day-to-day changes that need to be addressed and moving forward. We need to know something about somebody with a confirmed date, if it's all possible, or at least that company or whoever that entity is reaching out to the horsemen and giving us some kind of encouragement, because we may do some things that we regret in the near future, or we may not do some things that we regret in the near future. And we need the communication with the horsemen more so than just with themselves. And I guess I'm just trying to say that the horsemen need some information, a little more clarification on the information going forward. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Understood. Mr. Author, maybe consider an NDA or something in that realm, but I'll let you take it from there. You're the legal mind.
Well, these things move sequentially. And we absolutely will encourage and we will arrange at the appropriate time meetings with the horsemen, with the regulatory agencies, with the commission, with anybody who wants to speak with them. But like I said, we're definitely moving in that direction. And as I indicated to Commissioner York, we should have the negotiations at least wrapped up in the next 30 days, we hope. We're running into, it's a different, as you know, we tried to make a deal with the Strana company, which is a private company and less restricted by regulations than a publicly held company. So we're moving as fast as we can, Lloyd, and as soon as we can present you with a representative from the company to discuss with you, we will do that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Let's move down to county fairs.
This is Dr. DeFilippo from Pima County Fair Horse Racing Commission. Just a little update. I have requested that the Infrastructure Subcommittee complete and submit their report no later than December 31st, and I will forward a copy of that report. And secondly, to let everyone know that I have been in discussion with Mr. Franzia about Pima County's county fair racing dates being offered to Turf Paradise. And that's our update for the month.
Thank you, ma'am. How about Rito Park?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, this is Michael Weiss. I've been asked to give a short Rito Park update. We do have members of the board finishing up the permit application, and they're about ready. They'll be doing the turn in the permit and the finances into the Department of Gaming. We do recognize the fact that we are anxious to sit down and meet with HBBA reps, Mr. Gessman and Yodler. And I do want to address that I've heard there's concern about horse population. I believe that we are working on a plan to propose an idea to carry on this 81-year-old Rito tradition, possibly an abbreviated race meet with every day a festival type experience, with events, fun, the U of A experience, and we already have confirmation that we can get the Budweiser Clydesdales. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Only thing I would add to that is I know there's a significant amount of concern as far as the current and past financials, and look forward to hearing about that more and hopefully getting to the bottom of where all of those dollars have gone.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
For Paradise. Turf Paradise.
I'm here, Mr. Chairman. Vincent Francie for Turf Paradise.
Mr. Mayor, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, to update you on all that is going on at Turf Paradise, the main track, which was a major project to get renovated this year, has been completed. It took 2 weeks, 12-hour days, and the track is unlike anything I've ever seen. But rather than take my word for it, last week, Tony Patterson, who was the racetrack accreditation manager for HISA, Mark Guilfoyle, who was the director of stewarding and state racing commission relations for HISA, in their words, blown away by what we have done with the main track. That wasn't the only thing that they reviewed while they were here, but that was certainly the main thing. Both gentlemen made it very clear that they are not here to impede or shut down Turf Paradise or prevent it from beginning their race meet, just the opposite. They were here to get us up and running at the date that we'd like to open, January 29th. The fact that they were so impressed with the main track certainly gave them indications of what we are capable of doing in a very short time, because we're under very severe deadlines. Speaking of the deadlines, tomorrow the horsemen come in to get their stalls ready, and along with the horsemen will come in the shaving trucks and the hay wagons. That's on the 15th. On the 18th, the first of the horses will begin to arrive. I've been in touch, of course, daily with Racing Secretary Robbie Junk and Vinnie Barrett, the stall superintendent. We are getting, at this time, more horses coming into turf or wanting to come into turf than we had previously anticipated. I think we are benefiting, and I don't like to benefit from someone else's misfortune, but what's going on in California is producing an influx of those horses to come over for the race meet. So we are on target to be ready to open and conduct a race meet for the horsemen. I would be happy to answer any questions the chairman or the commission might have.
Commissioner York?
Mr. Francia, I know it's only been a week and I'm not sure if this question is for you or the department, but is there any update on HISA's approval as it relates to this meet?
The best update is the one I just mentioned that came from Mr. Patterson and Guilfoyle, that HISA's purpose for this particular meet is to get us up and running in a less than 90-day period. They were given to say that and give me confidence that that is exactly what they're doing. They were so impressed by what we're doing to the main track. Again, words are one thing, and I can paint a picture about what the main track was and what it is now. I know you're all busy. It's the holiday season. I understand that also. But a visual is worth 1,000 words in this case, because you all know what the main track looked like. But to answer the original intent of your question, Commissioner, their intent, meaning HISA, is to help us get running by the date that we want to open, which is the 29th. Not only did they spend time on the main track, but they went to the test barn. We're going to do some renovations that they want done. As to how the test barn is going to work, that's really between the division and HISA. They then toured the rest of the stable area. I was showing them where the horses are going to go. The barn area is the stables that are going to be open are A through D and the K row. The rest of the stables will not be in use. Again, I was hoping for X number of horses to come in. The racing secretary, Mr. Junk, because of the influx of horses that we're getting, have increased the anticipation or the projection of what horses. And this is good, of course, for the race meet. And why so? Well, right now, I'm sure everybody has seen that Santa Anita is going to have to reduce their purses. No track wants to do that, but business is what guides that decision. And the primary reason is they're running 6 and 7 horse fields, and our sport cannot survive on 6 and 7 horse fields. So the reason why I'm saying that, the anticipation of horses has exceeded our expectation for the upcoming meet, and that is healthy for the industry, the Arizona horse racing industry, to get back on its feet.
So just to summarize, and I know you don't have a crystal ball, but based on what you've seen today, you're pretty confident we'll have that approval needed in time?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Director?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I just want to let the commission know that the department is actively working with Turf Paradise and HISA to prepare for the anticipated Turf Paradise race meet next month. Federal and state regulators will be working collaboratively to provide Turf Paradise with the necessary feedback so that Turf Paradise understands what is necessary to host the planned meet according to the appropriate safety standards. From a regulatory standpoint, the department and HISA are doing everything reasonably possible to expedite the process while maintaining integrity and safety. Are working closely with Turf Paradise to monitor the progress and anticipation for the race meet.
Thank you, sir. commend you and your team on everything that you've been able to get done, and very much encourage you to continue working with the department to ensure this is not only the highest level of a meet that we can put together, but also the safest. So appreciate the words and look forward to hearing more once you get your HISA approval.
Understood, Mr. Chairman.
Arizona Counties Racing Association.
This is Chair Joanne DeFilippo from Pima County. There are no updates. I think this may be a defunct organization, and I'm trying to figure out if it needs to continue or dissolve. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you. Arizona Quarter Horse Racing Association.
Mr. Chairman, Lloyd Yelter with the Arizona Quarter Horse Racing Association and the Horsemen's Benevolence and Protection Association. So if it please the commission, I'd like to address B and D at the same time because we're all horsemen and it all relates to one entity. So if it please them, I'd like to do a B and D.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. It's been stated before, and I hate to, well, I don't hate to, when we come together with a contract with management, Turf Paradise to run a meet this year, though it be shortened or abbreviated meet in less days and so forth. I think we have a good contract. I think we have a good number of horses. My fear in the beginning was that we wouldn't have enough horses, but according to the racing secretary, we're getting more than we anticipated, which is a good thing. So we may have ample number of horses. The only thing I'm concerned with is that we have enough barn area in the event that we do have those horses, because we are not condemning, but not opening a few of the barns that possibly need to be condemned, but they're H and L row and so forth like that. But anyway, and back to the track was in horrible condition. It was unsafe. It wasn't, the rail wasn't right, so on and so forth. But management did step up. They hired the right people. As a matter of fact, one of our board members, Freddie Alvarez, did most of the work there, worked with the HISA representative and the surveyor, and did a marvelous job. I can't give Freddie enough compliments on the job that he did and the care he took with getting this done, because he is a horseman. He's a horse owner, a trainer, a breeder, the whole 9 yards, and he took it to heart and did a wonderful job with the track. The rail is excellent. The track is good. The turf looks good. I'm not sure. I mean, it looks great. I'm just worried about maybe the overseeding with the ryegrass and how much it encompassed with the root system that it will hold up, but that's to be seen. The other issue is that we got quite a number of horses, and we've got new pony horses. We've got new 2-year-olds that will be coming to the track to start working out. Is the training track, and the training track is in bad condition, and it needs to be brought to safety, up to safety, that we may have enough for these younger horses that can go to the training track without going onto the main track, mainly for safety reasons. So I encourage management to do something and get the training course, the training track up and as good shape as the main track. And other than that, I'm sure there's so much going on in this horse racing business and what's been going on, and with the flux of the future for horse racing. I'm sure I've left out a lot of things that I need to cover, but at this point in time, I'm drawing a blank on what else needs to be done. Right now, I'm just focusing on the main issue at hand, and that's getting the race meet up and running for our horsemen so they can come back to Arizona and do what we do best. So, unless you have any questions, I would, end it there. Thank you very much for your time.
Mr. Yother, only thing I would add and encourage you to continue working with the department to ensure that these concerns of yours are heard and noted, and see if we can get as many of them resolved as possible.
Thank you, sir, and will do. Thank you very much.
Mr. Author, I see your hand raised. Do you have?
No. It was an accident.
No problem. Thank you, sir. Arizona Thoroughbred Breeders. And jockey.
Good morning. This is Daryl here, Western Regional Manager for the Jockeys Guild. Good morning, Chairman Coolidge, Vice Chair Olson, and members of the commission. I will be meeting with management of Turf Paradise next week and pertaining to some safety concerns and making sure things are in order for the opening, concerning jockeys on track coverage for their insurance, and just making sure that things are in order with the jockeys' quarters and the employees, whether the valets or assistant starters, we have the right amounts in order. So I'll be there next week and looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you for the update, sir. Appreciate it. Do any of my commissioners have anything additional to add to future commission agendas or hearings?
Yes,
No,
Chair
thank you.
Coolidge.
Looks like I have two people signed. Oh,
Chair Coolidge.
Commissioner York.
Sorry, I was, two of us were speaking at the same time. I just wanted to ask, I've been on the commission now about a year and a half, and I've heard that we're supposed to get legislative updates. Can you shed some light on that? Is that something that we should be doing, or is it on an as-needed basis?
Yes, ma'am. I'll defer to the department, but I will say that the legislature kicks off second week of January, which is likely why you haven't received a formal update, because they're currently not in. Mr. Director, do you want to add anything to that, or?
Mr. Chairman, we can definitely have our legislative liaison come into future commission meetings after the legislature goes into session and speak on any matters that are horse racing related.
Okay, so if there's not an update, because I assume, in the beginning of 2023, we didn't get an update. There was just nothing that affected racing. That's why we didn't. I mean, I know it sounds like an obvious statement, but I just want to make sure.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Looks like I have two people signed up to speak. I also see, I'm sorry, Miss Joanne, I can't see the last name there, so I'm just going to call you by your first name.
It's Chair Joanne DeFilippo. In regards to legislative action, this is actually kind of a question. I would imagine that the state follows the same procedures that we use with county government, and I question whether or not the commission, Arizona Department of Racing Commission, has the opportunity to feed into the legislative agenda that would then be submitted by the Arizona Department of Racing to the state. So I would encourage you to take a look at that, because I believe you would use the same format as used by counties, etc. Thank you.
Appreciate it, ma'am. Mr. Nolan, I have you signed up.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Commission members, department officials, and the audience out there. Again, I'm appreciative of the audience out there. After being here for 40 years in this industry, I got a lot of concerns that try to bring awareness to try to bring some more transparency to the table. So we've got a shot to move forward. Let's start by, you ever heard the saying slower than molasses in the winter? I could use some help again from Commissioner York. I think it was French Contreras who also spoke. In the spirit of the open meeting laws, to still have Zoom meetings after this was discussed months ago, there's negligence somewhere preventing us from going live. There needs to be an order. I don't want to hear excuses. That's what I mean. Slower than molasses. Play the delay and it'll go away. Well, it doesn't go away. There's too many problems in the industry for it to go away. With that said, more transparency. The commission conditionally gave Turf Paradise its permit, but that condition is his approval. Have they waived the 90-day rule? Just because we hear a permittee saying they're encouraged, there's tremendous work that needs done yet. All of this should have been handled last June, had the permittee not been defiant in trying to hold his 3-year obligation to run a meet. This last minute delay is putting the horsemen in so much jeopardy, it's unbelievable. Yes, the horses are good, the track, they're coming in. Without that 90-day, to have that taken off, this could be a training center until that 90-day period is March 1st. Why is that not being discussed? Is there a legal issue because of the approval of this HISA is not there yet of them simulcasting after January 1? These problems have existed. Those people that are now saying, hey, we're confident, they have come to this commission and played the delay game to delay a meet cut in half of what should be running under what should have been a 3-year permit. They shouldn't have been defiant. They should have got after this. There is negligence involved. But with the regulators working slower than molasses in the winter, we see why we have a problem. Speaking about the open meeting laws, there was, yes,
30
Commissioner
seconds.
York, you helped. Please, somebody who made a mistake can't find a place to put these meetings, find it. It's way past due. Dr. DeFilippo said it. There's problems with the open meeting law and the spirit of the open meeting laws at these meetings. More transparency, bring awareness, hold people accountable that are supposed to be held accountable. Let's move this industry forward and let's run, but not at the expense of these poor people, this industry of 70 years here. The wrong
Thank you,
people
sir.
are being victimized. And I thank you for your time.
Appreciate it. Mr. Gore?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to save my comments for another meeting. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Ms. Joanne, do you have your hand raised again?
Yes, I do.
Ma'am.
Thank you. I would like to encourage you. I heard earlier today in the meeting a talk about, I believe it was Commissioner York who maybe stated a report on the supplemental funding when it comes to the financial report. And I would encourage you, and I would like to see who the grantees and the subrecipients are of this funding, the amount of funding that was allocated, as well as somebody has been submitting performance reports to the state. And I believe that the Arizona Department of Racing, again, I'm going to correlate because you are a public body under Arizona revised statutes. Those reports should be made public. If not even a copy of the original contract. And I think it's important not only for you, the Arizona Department of Racing Commission, but for all of us who are, let's say, vested racehorse professionals and or taxpayers in the state of Arizona to be able to see those reports. Again, who the grantees, the subrecipients, the amount of funds that were allocated, and the reports that were submitted to the state that are required. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll move down to the announcements. The next regularly scheduled commission meeting will be in person at 10 a.m. on Friday, January 12th, 2024 at 100 North 15th Avenue, Suite 302. It will also be held on Google Meet for any of those needing remote access. That said, I will make a motion for adjournment.
Olson seconds.
Madam Secretary.
sorry, I had it on mute. Thank you. With the motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Vice Chair Olson, I will call roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York.
Yes.
Thank you. The time is now 11 a.m. and this meeting has adjourned. Thank you. If everyone would please exit the meeting.